Alright guys, so we're working with Nelly here. And what we're working with, Nelly's a dog that, great dog. We love having Nelly around. But one of her issues is she's got a lot of insecurity. And so one thing that Joe does a lot of with insecurity, Joe has a fun way of doing like back tying to help with a long down. Because what a long down can do for a dog with insecurity is build a lot of confidence, because the dog has to just kind of stay there of their own volition, and at first they're like, I'm alone, I'm nervous about this, and things like that.
And naturally this dog wants to be on your feet, asking her down. So that's kind of part of her insecurity. She wants to appease you and be near you. So when that happens, we have to help her realize that she can be down away from us. So we use a long line for that.
And just to interrupt there, because a lot of people say, what can I do to build confidence in my dog? This is one of those things. Yeah. Getting your dog to do a downstay, far away from you, especially a longer downstay where the dog has to stay there for a while, is one of those things that can actually build confidence. At first, the dog might be nervous about it, but as the dog works their way through it, they get a lot of confidence. There's a lot of wind. Hopefully this new wind thing I've got on the camera is going to drown all that out.
Right.
Just talk loud and authoritative, Joe. Yeah, so Joe likes, in order to get this long downstay, Joe does the thing with the back tie, and that's kind of what I wanted to show here, because I don't really do a whole lot of this, and so I thought, hey, why don't you teach me about this, Joe? While he's teaching me, I'll have him teach you guys.
Okay, so you can see that her impulse was to come on my feet as I told her to down. So she wanted to get as close to me as possible. So what this does is it tells her, you're okay to just be right here. You don't need to go a long ways away. Another thing that this does as well is as you start getting further and further away from the dog, it makes it so if they run, they're not going to go get into trouble and get in a dangerous situation. Okay, so we're going to put her in that down and then release her really quickly, fairly quickly. Then we're going to go a little bit longer and a little bit longer with it.
Longer distance, longer time, right?
Yep, duration and distance.
Yeah, so if you need to go back and rewind, see that as he told her down, her natural inclination is just get closer. She's like, I will down, but I'd really like to do it on your feet so that I can feel a piece of you. And so this is one thing, it's like such a subtle thing that we see with a lot of dogs, is their need to touch or their need to be touched sometimes is put in there by the owners. That's not the case well, that might be the case, but this dog has a new owner, and so the new owner hasn't done that. But there's a lot of dogs to where the owners are constantly touching the dog. The dog's constantly receiving touch and talk, and as a result, it's we call it like a sugar rush. The dog is so used to this sugar rush that suddenly when it's gone and they're not getting touched, it makes them nervous, and so you get a lot of whining. You get dogs who pace. You get dogs who come and demand attention, need attention, things like that. So Joe's out of the picture now, and you can tell. Oh, now he's coming back. But yeah. So the idea is, one thing that we found is that if you can anchor the body, you can anchor the mind. And so if he's not using the back tie here, what could happen is she could just inch her way forward, and by the time he gets back and uses the leash to guide her back to position, she would have inched forward, and she would have essentially been somewhat rewarded for that. And so the back tie here is simply just it's mostly just a preventer, right? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
right now I'm going to down her near it. Nelly, down. So she's a little nervous about it.
Yeah, and even there, she's like, I'll down, but let my body touch your body as I do it.
So this is probably jumping ahead a little bit too much.
So you're saying you take the long line off?
Yeah. So you can either take it off her at the collar and leave it next to her, or you can take the long line off at the post where it's tied to.
And so what I'm guessing is happening here is when you do a lot of back tie, the dog realizes I can't move, and so once they realize they can't, their desire to move goes away.
Right.
And then that's where you take it off, so the dog isn't feeling the weight, so the dog is much more choosing to stay put rather than being prevented.
Exactly, and then they've become accustomed to staying down in a safe way. So this is just a step-by-step process.
And in the process, they're gaining that independence, and they're gaining that, yeah. And so going back to what I was talking about earlier, this is why a lot of folks need to be very careful about how much like unearned affection that they give their dogs. So much touch and things. And oftentimes, it's coming from the owner's insecurity, and this is not said to hurt anyone at home's feelings, but the owner's insecure, and so they're using their dog as kind of their therapy of constantly touching and needing and helping. But in the result there, she's got a happy little butt wag. But the result there is a dog who we're building insecurity into. And so however it happened, like I said, the new owner that sent this dog to us, she's only had the dog for a couple weeks. So she, like I say, it wasn't anything she did. So however it happened, we don't know. Maybe it was a nervous system issue. Maybe, the previous owners, were too affectionate or maybe like too strict or what have you. But whatever it is, this, she has an insecurity, and this is just one way that we work on helping her through that insecurity. Any other tips on backlining a dog, Joe?
There are a lot of things you can do. Functionally, it's a pretty awesome tool. This is the way I like to use it with insecure dogs that need to be on your feet the whole time.
Gotcha. Yeah, take away the ability to be on your feet, and they gain some strength from that. Oh.
Down.